Okay, I'm checking to make sure that my audio is working. It's a minute early, so hopefully. Okay, I hear myself, which is great. It's technically 4 o'clock, and I know it's short notice. My teenager is on her break this week, and we ended up having things to do every other day this week. So hopefully there's not too many questions regarding this. Um, this is not meant to be the hard part of the project, and I will try to do one of these every week ahead of time from when something is due so that you guys are able to see what I'm talking about in addition to the pictures and the video that could already be online. So there was a video posted that talks about the final project and the workflow. If you haven't looked at that yet, it goes through all of the different things. The most, I guess, organized document for what we'll be working on every week is this weekly breakdown list. So today I'm going to talk about the assignment. I'm going to talk about the software that you can use. I'm going to talk about how to make the folders and then talk about color pickers. So um, for the software that you can download to your own personal machine to use. You can use Notepad++. You can really use any code editor, but if you do not have a favorite code editor, if you're not already a programmer and you're not sure what to use, Notepad++, you'll want to find the one with this little frog on it. I know it's kind of hard to see it. So it's Notepad hyphen plus hyphen plus period org. So you're going to look for the organization. Um, and then when you click it, it'll take you to the downloads page. You'll pick the one that is most suited. They have other operating systems. Stable auto update triggered. It will run through an auto update whenever you start it. Um, I think I just got an update for 8.9.2. When you come to this page, you will see all these terrible Privacy Shield or whatever other ads they have on here. This is the button that you want with this little, I don't know what he is. I do know what he is every now and again. Gecko, maybe? You want the one with the gecko. And then there is a installer like through 7-zip and some other things. But this green button with the gecko on the pencil is what you need. And then for VS Code, it's through Visual Studio, and you just get this download for Windows button. And this is what it looks like. It has a nice black background as far as a dark interface. You can change it to be light or gray or other things. I have Notepad++ here just because it's a simpler, um, cleaner look for showing. Oh, hold on. It's not changing. Give me a second. Let me fix that. Okay. Okay, there it goes. Sorry. My stream got hung up and I was worried that I wasn't showing you guys the right things. Okay. So, um, you can make these bigger. I'll get some of this out of the way here. So it has the same file, edit, search options. There's a new file, open, save all. And it's just like a regular Notepad text editor. It's not necessarily any any fancier than anything else, but it is nice because you can open multiple tabs. Now I know regular Notepad can do that, but when you save this file, when you are saving it as a document, you can use this down here, HTML, and it will color code the items in the codes for you for the correct thing. So if we do this, actually I don't want to save it. I'll open that so that you guys can see what that looks like um, at a decent level. This might be, that's, so this is a test HTML and CSS at, with attachments, and there should be some CSS maybe in here. But anyway, um, here's how it lines up all of the items in the document. It color codes them, which is helpful when you're trying to open and close different things. You can use this plus and minus to section off things when you are done with them. If you're working on the page and you have menu bars, this is the giant header for the Vincennes University website. If some of this looks familiar as far as words go, this is the header file for it. And then we go into some more information further down the page. So it color codes different things. Text that would show up is black. And that's just a handy way to check your code when you're working on it. Now, for the folder structure, I have a Comp 107's projects folder for myself. You can make in your documents directory this initial folder. You want to say new folder, and then you want to have it be Comp 107, and then your name, and then final, or final, and then your name. And then when you go into that folder, you'll create your folder for images, and capitalization is important. So be sure to use the same capitalization when you go to link something. And then a JS folder, and then a CSS folder. And then in here is where you'll have your pages. And then here's where you'll have your images, and then this will be your JavaScript, and then this is your CSS. I don't know if, now if I zoom in, it just makes them do weird dances. So to start, you can, now this is on a Windows machine. I am not 100% sure on a Mac, but on Windows you can say a new text document, and we want to name our initial page index, and we can change the extension to be HTML, and that's how we know it's a web page, and that's how the browser will know it's a web page. So if you change the file extension, the file might become unstable. As long as it's HTML, you're fine. So say yes. Now we can edit in Notepad, and it opens it up, and now we obviously don't have any code in here yet because we haven't started, but you can make your pages in the folder ahead of time, or you can create a new file here and go to File, Save As, and one of the pages would be an About page. Now you can choose the names of your pages if you are creative or have a bigger project in mind for something long term. I would suggest the index page, an about page, and a contact us page, or just a contact page. So that would be contact.html and about.html for simplicity. Obviously, anything above that or beyond that is acceptable and welcome, but I don't want anybody to stress out over having to name pages. Um, so now we've named it about.html, and it shows up here in our folder. Now they obviously have nothing in them, so there's no code in them, and we'll get to working on some of that. Like I'll show you some of the coding and stuff, but you're welcome to start ahead of time using stuff from the zyBooks or any other resources. So that is our folder structure. Oh, let me show you. When you go to submit the final, you're going to right click on this and compress to a zip file, and it will make a zip file right here in the drive, and you can rename it here, although you don't have to because it's already named correctly for how I would like to see the file, because I have to download those all from Blackboard and open them up on my computer and check all of the things. So it's so much easier when your name is already there that I don't have to go and say, okay, whose thing was I on? Did the browser time out? Do I have to log back in? Do I have to figure out who this is? Now, granted, your copyright should have your name in the bottom of the footer, which would be fantastic. But again, it's just easier to kind of keep it all in line this way. And then this is what you would submit for your assignment at the end, your final. I know some students do have access to our Google Docs system at the college as a student in a trial. If you run into any issues, you can always upload your zip file there and then put the link for me to get to it into the final, the final project submission. The thing with that though is if you give me a link to something and I don't have access to it or I can't reach it or you didn't give me permissions, and this goes for any online thing, Dropbox or anything like that, I can't give you a grade because I can't see it. And I'm not going to chase you down after we're all done with school and everyone's already left. To say, hey, I can't see this, I can't get to it. Can you please open this up so that I can grade it? Because obviously I have grades due, and it is your responsibility to make sure that I am able to open it. So just keep that in mind if you're going to use something other than zipping your information into the zip file and then uploading it to Blackboard, because that is the preferred method. Now, let me go back to here. So you'll notice in this advanced CSS section, there's a submit your website topic and colors. It is due on Sunday. It is worth 10 points. I figure this will help keep everybody on track, and then nobody has to worry about getting behind because then you'll see it in your list of things to do. And I've added a couple of things as far as organizing and creating your website. There's some videos, they're entertaining and they go in deep depth, but not, so long that, they're very succinct and they cover a lot of information, which is great. Let's see. Okay, so next on my list is the links to the color pickers. So we have 3 links here, and they're each neat in their own way. The first we have is the Flux Academy. It's the ultimate guide to choosing colors for web design. And it goes through and it's got some videos about why it's important to pick the right colors, and eventually we get into accessibility, which talks about colors having enough contrast to be able to be seen. And so you can go through and read some of this. It talks about the color wheel, complementary, monochromatic, analogous. Anyway, I'm sure that's probably said a fancier way. So these are important phrases and words so that you can use these other 2 tools and understand what the tool is asking you for. Here's some color meanings if you're not sure what you want your website colors to be, but you know what your theme is. And you can also use Google or something else to say, hey, what would be some good colors for a insert website type here. And then it talks about how to choose a color palette for a website. You obviously want to pick a primary color. If you consider that black and white don't really count as colors in your website itself, because black could always be just regular text, um, and you have background colors and font colors and stuff. So if we take out black and white, then you could probably get by with three different colors. Um, So it says that your primary color should take up about 60%, secondary color should be about 30%, and then 10% for an accent color. And then, of course, obviously black and white, but you can pick two other colors if you don't want to use just black and white. Um, so it talks about how you might want to use an accent color. If you see here, their accent color is this bright yellow. It's very small, but it will be like your call to action color. If you have any buttons or if you do any highlighting with your navigation, which is something that I'll show you, then you can use that as your third color. Your first color would be generally the background behind everything. Um, you can just do plain white, and then use another primary color to highlight or make titles or font colors. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, so that you end up with a couple of colors. Because a website that's just black and white and one other color is pretty boring. And then a secondary color, and this one they use this purple to show this, and then their title colors, and that's really nice to have a good, strong color throughout the whole website. And then if you want to sign up for their stuff, you can. So this is basically a treasure trove of information as far as brand recognition and visual appeal and all sorts of color theory, which the Zybooks just doesn't cover in quite a depth as this. This is definitely a more artistic approach to it. Do you have enough contrast in your color versus your background? Um, so then the next one that we have, um, so there's Peloton, which uses a lot of those phrases. So here's monochromatic, here's complement. You can add complementary colors. There are adjacent colors, and you can adjust these bars a little bit um, and it changes this palette over here. And you can adjust these colors. But the other neat thing you can do is it has a base color here. So if you know that you want your base color to be, say, let's see, let's find, we'll do this. And so I'm going to apply it as base color so I don't have to go look for um, a RGB code. So now I've moved these around and it's given me these colors for my options, right? And so if I want it to be more purplish and then maybe make this just a bit more lighter green. And you can see it's changing all the other colors because it's figuring out what the distance is between them. Now this is a complex tool, but it does create some pretty nice colors. So if you're trying to find a complementary or a tertiary triad color, and there's even a tetrad of colors where it puts these together and you can see how they can adjust. You can play around with it if you're the type of person that likes to see how the colors will look together on the page. Um, and if you want a different hue or a different hue is the right word, but deepness of the color, you can go with a lighter version versus this deeper blue, um, and play around with it. And then this one is really neat because it has a whole bunch of colors that people have put together already, color palettes that people have already thought of and they've named them. So if you just want to look through some of them, um, and then it talks about some usage tips on how to lock some colors that you like if you want to create your own. So up here in this, up here, you can lock the color. So like say you like this color and you want to lock it, and you click generate, it'll try to make some more colors. Now, if you're like, oh, well, that's not quite what I wanted, it'll keep trying, you can keep trying. But if you get one that you like, so we'll say like, oh, we like this pink and this pink, and then you generate again, it'll give you some colors that are kind of complementary to it. And you can then say, oh yeah, no, I like if I'm going for an Easter theme, since we're pretty close, and I really want that to end up being a green color. Now you can see down here, they're also changing some of these too as I go. So you can really play with it and try to really come up with something. So then so like I like this color, but I can't get a green, right? So I'm going to say, okay, let me reset this page. So I'm going to take this UID out. Oh no, too many requests. Let me go back and click the button again. Oh, too many requests. I'm going to search for it real quick. Sometimes that happens with it. And the website itself is like, I can't do it anymore. Yep. Sadness. Hopefully, when you guys go and get into it, it won't do that for you. Let me look real quick for coolers. That's a good one. I should put that in the document, and I'll do that now. So this has so many palettes created by everybody, right? But you can also create your own by starting the generator, and it's very similar to this ColorMind. And you hit the space bar to stop it, and then you can click on the lock and continue locking all of the colors, and then you can adjust them at the bottom. I will add this link to the document. Um, and they've given it a name. So smoky rose, muted teal, black, sky blue light, lilac ash. This is nice if you want to, in the assignment, I ask for the hex codes, but if you want to write the names for your own documentation, it's nice when you have a color name to go with it instead of um, we have VU Navy, which is like 003A5D, and we have our VU Gold, which is FFD 100, and there's one color off from each of them that they do have a name, but I can never remember the name. And I'm like, not the Wabash blue, but the other blue, and I'm like, no, the 000735. And they're like, oh, dark denim. And I'm like, oh, that's what you call it. Okay. So it's really, up to you how you want to, remember what they're called. But the codes and stuff should be entered into the, put this up here. Oh, and I'll make a link for it real quick. All right. So the assignment itself says, tell me your topic for your website. It should be at least one complete sentence. So not just cats. Tell me what about cats. This will also help you figure out what it is that you're going to make a website about. And then at least 4 colors using hex codes for your website. Which even if you use black and white, that still leaves 2 that you need to come up with. And then based on our document here, you should make your main project folder, and inside that do the JS and images folders. And then we'll be good to go for figuring out pictures and how to save them in a reasonable fashion on our drive. And then the next week will be your simple page layout. Now I'll start doing some design in code, but I think Next week, finding images may not be so big a task, so I might introduce you to Figma and some other creative tools online that can help as far as like trying to design a simple page layout and so that you guys can get ahead while with thinking about it. And then obviously we'll add in some Bootstrap when we get to the week in Bootstrap. And each of these weeks will have a small assignment that you can send me what you have or answer some questions so that I can make sure that everyone is moving along at the same pace. And they are due Sunday night by midnight, and they are not eligible for late submissions. So um, that is one of those hard and fast things. Um, with this online class to make sure that everybody's where they should be because it's uh, not like I don't think everybody's seeing the messages or logging in every week, and it's very important that you do. Um, so I'll be sending email announcements instead of just having them pop up in Blackboard, and we'll be together almost every week. It won't be as early as this on any other days. And if there is a good time for people, if you want to email me and let me know, say, hey, after X o'clock or on whatever day at whatever time. And if I can make it work, I will. I do have a couple of um, engagements, a couple of nights, but I can certainly try to do more to make sure that everybody can be included and can log in and see what we're doing. So I don't think I have too much else for this specifically. So with that, I will let you go, and I am excited to see what your websites will be about. And I hope you all have a really great day. Thanks.